Good morning.
Good morning. And just a quick, the mics are all hot for for the folks who haven't been here, and they don't need to be adjusted or touched. They pick up everything. So whether you whether you mean for it to be picked up or not, they're very sensitive, and it is being broadcast via our YouTube channel. So even if you think you're whispering to your neighbor, it's going to pick it up. So make sure you want it heard. Okay. And we're passing out, I'll wait until the chair calls the meeting to order before I keep talking.
Okay, well, is everyone here who needs to be here?
I think so.
Okay. Well, good morning and welcome everyone to the Monterey Salinas Transit District Board of Directors meeting of July 14th, 2025. This is an in-person meeting. Remote participation via Zoom is offered, but not required for the meeting to proceed. So if we somehow have any audio problems, we don't need to wait. But we'll do our MST will do their best to resolve any technical issues as quickly as possible. With that, at this time, I will give a warning to speakers that MST is committed to civility and mindful of its responsibility to protect the work environment and to ensure civility is in its public meetings. The public is encouraged to engage in respectful dialogue that supports freedom of speech and yet values diversity of opinion. Failure to engage in respectful dialogue may forfeit the speaker's right to participate in the meeting. So at this time, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is 9:04. And I will ask Jeanette to call the roll, please.
The city of Carmel by the Sea.
Here.
City of Delray Oaks.
Here.
City of Gonzales.
Here.
City of Greenfield.
Here.
City of King.
Present.
City of Marina.
Here.
City of Monterey.
Present.
City of Pacific Grove.
Here.
City of Sand City.
Here.
City of Salinas.
Here.
City of Seaside.
Here.
City of Soledad. At this time absent. County of Monterey.
Excused, absent.
National, what do you have, NACO or?
Yeah, they have a conference, so both Louis Alejo or the alternate will not be available today.
But you do have a form.
Okay, and for the record, we do have with us the City of Salinas alternate, Gloria de la Rosa. So I want to welcome you, Gloria.
Thank you. Good morning to all of you. And it's an honor to be here. MST.
Thank you. And we will have, I believe Fernando Cabrera may be trying to join us via Zoom. So if we could just watch if he does. And if he does, we'll at that time he'll be joining us. We will go with a roll call vote at that time. So with that, we'll move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. And I would like to ask Joe Amelia, if you would lead us. Do this honors.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And with that, we'll go ahead and move on to review of the highlights of the agenda. Carl.
Yes, thank you, Chair. This is a once every 4-year or so event. We're going to have a preliminary meeting of our strategic planning workshop for the first hour and then move into our regular board meeting at 10. This was after some discussions with our strategic planning ad hoc committee and our selected strategic planning workshop facilitator, Jerry Benson, who some of you who were with us in 2021 participated with Jerry in a completely Zoom oriented facilitated workshop. The intent is not to do that again, but we wanted to have, Jerry wanted to provide, felt that 5 hours was going to be necessary, or at least 4 hours was going to be necessary for this meeting, 4 to 5 hours. And after discussing it with the Strategic Planning Ad Hoc Committee, we thought that we would use 1 hour today to get started and establish some groundwork, and then come back next month and devote the entire strategic board meeting time to strategic planning workshop. Just as a point of reference, historically, we used to do these every 3 years. The last strategic planning workshop that we did in 2021, part of what the board's direction was to develop a 2-year budget plan instead of historically we've been doing 1-year budgeting. So the thought was that we would get a strategic plan that would be in sync with 2-year budget time frames, and also be in sync with the election cycles of you as council members, because also at the 2021, we were in the middle of doing all of this, and we had positions change on the council, and we had a number of new people who were unfamiliar with MST. So this is our first amendment or go through in this new 4-year cycle. We did select Jerry Benson again. He is for this meeting joining us via Zoom, but for the August full session, he'll be here in person. So you all received some work product from staff that we worked with Jerry on as a separate amendment to this agenda. And we can go through that. At this point, I'd like to turn things over to Jerry, if that's okay. Is there any questions?
Before we do have to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go on to item 2.
Yep.
And then we can do that.
I got so wrapped up in explaining the workshop. Among other things on the agenda are some consent items to authorize some additional design work for the SURF project. You'll receive an update on the South County circulators. It's as a report. We have the purchase of some technology that goes on board our buses to keep track of our passengers and do reporting. And then we do have a closed session following up at the end of the regular board meeting that will be regarding the Monterey Salinas Transit and our Amalgamated Transit Union that represents our drivers and mechanics and maintenance professionals. And then we have a conference with real property negotiators as well on closed session. So just please keep that in mind. I don't see any issues after the hour workshop is done with us completing on time today. But you never know. That's it. That concludes my highlight. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. With that, we'll go ahead and move on to item 2, and that is public comment on matters not on the agenda. So at this time, members of the public may address the board on any matter related to the jurisdiction of MST, but not on the agenda. There's a time limit of 3 minutes for each speaker, and the public is encouraged to engage in respectful dialogue. With that, I will go ahead and open it up to the public. Public comment is open. And if you could please use your raised hand feature via Zoom if you would like to make a comment there.
We have no one with their hands raised online, and I do not see anyone in the room asking to be recognized.
Okay, with that, we will go ahead and close public comment and move directly into the strategic planning workshop, part 1.
Okay, well, you just got my preamble a little ahead of time. So we're saving time. Believe we have Jerry Benson on the line. I believe he's 801-9885. Would sound about right to me. So with that, we can introduce Jerry. And Jerry, do you want to take the lead on this? If you are able to connect.
I'm seeing her just needs to unmute.
Can you unmute yourself? Or can he be unmuted by our technical staff?
We can only send a request.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me now? This is Jerry Benson.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, great. Sorry about the difficulties getting logged on to your meeting. Good morning, everyone, and it's really a pleasure to be with you here today. And I'm not sure, so I'm on my phone here with you. And to kick us off, I'd like to walk through a strategic planning model, if it's possible to show this model. I know Lisa has it. If not, I'll just step you through it. All right. So it's great to be with you again, and I'm sorry for some pauses here. I have a pretty good echo going on with my computer and my phone. It's unfortunately kind of a rare opportunity for me to be back with an agency after completing a full cycle of strategic plan implementation and measurement and evaluation, and then to begin a new cycle. And that's where we are today. We are going to begin with the assessment of the last plan and a critique or evaluation of the methods that the agency used to measure and assess its performance. So what we have today in this first hour of our retreat, before I'm there in person with you in August, is a review of the performance of the last plan, 2022 to 2025, a review of one of the major initiatives of that period, which is the Better Bus Network. And then also we will present to you a summary of the findings of the survey that you were, that was distributed to you a few weeks ago. And at the end of that, I'd like to facilitate a discussion with all of you about the items that you would like to keep and preserve and continue to invest in, the items that you're not doing now but you think you need to bring into your portfolio, the items that you maybe tried and had no impact, or the resource drain is too much, but for whatever reason you need to drop. What activities or initiatives or services you need to let go so you have resources to do more critical things. And then lastly, the items that you have implemented that may have had some success but need to be revised and improved. And so I have a little form to
Jerry,
ask you to look
Jerry,
at. Yes,
Can I ask you to take a pause for a sec?
sure.
We were expecting you to have the ability to actually present this on the screen, and that's what we were set up to do.
Okay.
It seems like you're working from your phone, though. And
So it looks like, yeah, it looks like I'm on the meeting. And let me just see if my name shows up here. If that's the case, then I'll hang up my phone and switch to the meeting.
yeah, you're showing up as a
Yeah. Okay, great. So I'm going to if you can allow me to unmute my phone on the video Zoom call, then I'll hang up my phone and then I can show you the model.
I think you'll have to unmute yourself from your computer.
Right.
There I go.
There I go.
And hang up your phone. There we go.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate.
I haven't been an IT person for 30 years, but you just never get out away from it, do you? It's plugged in.
Oh, I know. My apologies for that. All right. Let me just share my screen then, and I'll walk you through this model that I was just talking about. And here we go. All right. Okay. Now, can you see the strategic planning model?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, as I mentioned, it's great to be back at the end of a cycle with a client who is bringing me back again, because we can close the loop on this cycle before we begin the work to start a new one. So what we're going to do today, you see kind of on the bottom left of this model, a box that says outcomes, measurement, and evaluation. That's what we're going to cover today. And this is a really powerful part of the strategic planning model because it allows you to learn from what you've done in the past, evaluate what you've done, and then use that information to be more effective going forward. Moving to the top left of this model, the strategy for nonprofit and public service organizations comes out of the intersection between the agency's purpose, mission, and capabilities and the needs of the community. And so we want to make sure we have a good sense of both of those things, what the current priorities and issues are in the community, what your capabilities are, what your values are as an organization. And then it's the intersection of those two things that allow you to envision a future that's different for your community because of all the work that you do. That's the work that we'll be doing on August 11th together. We'll be doing a review of community needs, public opinions, priority issues, both for the region and for your cities and for the larger state of California. We'll be looking at how the agency has evolved, and then we'll be creating a new vision for what the future could be. Those of you who were with us the last time we went through this might remember we did a visioning activity, imagining a future and then writing some newspaper headlines that describe that future. So that's the kind of work we'll do. And then out of that, we will spend quite a bit of time on strategies. And strategies are choices that you make about where to put your time, money, and other resources. And strategies are a choice to not do some things as much as they are a choice to do certain activities. Each of your strategies should have some kind of measurable goal or outcome, and then your goals and strategies translated into tactics and actions of the specific things that you're going to do. So I wanted to just share this model with you as we start our presentations today. And then as you listen to the presentations, we'll be doing this outcomes measurement and evaluation. I'd like you to make some notes on the form, and hopefully you all have a physical copy of that 4-quadrant form: things to keep, things to start, things to drop, things to modify. And then after the presentations, I'll come back again and lead you on a discussion about the items that you've put on your form. So with that, I'll turn it back to your CEO, Carl, and thank you. I appreciate being with you.
Thank you, Jerry. So at this time, are we gonna wait for a form, Pearl? Maybe we just work out for the blank paper.
Lisa is printing out a form, I think, as we speak. So I would rather you have the form that Jerry wants ready to go. So why don't we it'll be up to I will leave it to your board how you want to proceed. Jerry, what were the 4 quadrants of the form?
Right. So there are really just 4 things I'm asking you to make some notes in. 1, items that are working well for you. You're creating a lot of value for the community, things that you want to keep doing. Item 2, things that you're not doing now, but you need to start. Item 3, things that you're doing now that are just not having the payoff that make them worthwhile. So things that you want to drop. And then item 4, these are things that are underway now, but need some modification, some change, some reinvention to be more effective. So those are the 4 categories I'd like you to make some notes in as you listen to the presentations.
Okay, with that, while we're waiting for official form to come, I'll just get started to keep us going. So we sent out via text link and updated some workshop materials, and I'll be going over item 2.1a, which is the CEO's evaluation of where we stand with regard to the strategic plan, priorities, and what we set out to accomplish and what we actually accomplished. And here come the forms right now. So not too bad as far as me stretching time in order to make this happen. Yeah. So item, priority number one, your board, had selected, back in 2021. Develop and maintain adequate and stable long-term revenues, not unsurprising, strategic priority. Without the dough, there's no show, right? So, we have seen, over the period, strong revenue growth. We were very concerned at the time of the last strategic plan because we were at the very outset, early years, times of COVID, and we didn't know how the economy was going to react and what sort of responses we would have from federal government, and our state budgets and everything else that we so much depend upon. We've seen strong growth from the federal, state, and local sales tax revenues. We were successful in securing $25 million from the state of California for the SURF program. We secured another $22 million from the federal government for the SURF program. We received another $1.16 million of funding to upgrade obsolete traveler information system. This is our on-time display systems, the LED signs. Those signs aren't made anymore. We need to replace all of them with new technology. So that $1 million is going to go a good ways towards procuring that. We got another $3 million of a federal grant for the purchase of battery electric buses and charging infrastructure, as well as the planning activities for a microgrid to help support resilience should the grid go down. So from a funding perspective, we've been doing pretty well. Challenges, though, that we've had is even with all those successes, since the implementation of what's called the low emission, no emission bus program that was designed for transit operators at the federal level, it's a federal program to procure zero emission buses. I believe there's been, it's been through an Obama administration, a Trump administration, and Biden administration, and now the beginning of another Trump administration. And I think there have been 8 cycles. 10 cycles, I'm being told, either that or Michelle is showing me jazz hands, 10 cycles, and we have been unsuccessful with any of those. Now, this is critical because we have a state mandate to convert our entire fleet to zero emission buses by 2040. And we have not been able to crack the code, as have many. This particular program tends to spread. I think I've used this analogy at the federal level. It's too little butter over too much bread. They try to give every state an equal amount, although some states have much stricter mandates and have a much stronger commitment to zero emission. California will get the same amount of funding as Wyoming. And so that's why we're struggling. We have $157 million unfunded mandate to convert our buses and facilities to zero emission buses. We have another $80 million of capital needs just to upgrade our maintenance communications facilities and make our bus stops ADA accessible throughout the county. Not yet counted in these numbers is a new Salinas operations and maintenance facility that could cost, 100 or more. I said $50 million. That should be $150 million. That's a typo on my part.
I thought I turned it off.
So we have significant unfunded capital needs. Measure Q, which provides MST $13 million per year, and which has been critical since its passage in 2014 and are beginning to collect those funds in 2015. It expires in 2030. This really funds our MST Rides program and all of our other seniors, veterans, and persons with disability mobility programs. So we have, before us to go back to the voters for a renewal in 2026 or 2028 to keep those funds flowing. Now, as your board received update earlier this year, the polling is, very, very strong for this. And we are looking at legislation AB 761 being sponsored by Assemblymember Addis that would allow us not only to renew that Measure Q, but if the board decides to do this, the voters could opt to tax themselves an additional 1/8% that could go towards funding to go towards some of these other unfunded projects. But that's we need the legislation to be signed by the governor. It's moving through the legislation, really with very little opposition at this point. And then we would, as a board, need to decide, do we want to just renew Measure Q? Or do we want to go for an additional amount? Goal number 2, providing quality transit and mobility services. Your board wanted us to continue providing our existing services and complete the comprehensive operational analysis and implement a new service model as the results of COVID. Fine-tune our existing service. And I would say that, we've done really, really well in that regard. We have numerous safety initiatives. We're tracking accidents and incidents utilizing GIS reporting. We have an improved process for boarding and deboarding wheelchair passengers, developed in-house by our own passengers. And we've revitalized our safety committee, who are providing data-driven reports and solutions to improve our safety and reduce our number of preventable accidents. The planning and preventing activities related to the SURF are substantially complete. And we expect active construction at the 5th Street Station currently in mid-August, and track removal to begin along the corridor in early September. The comprehensive operational analysis was completed. The Better Bus Network was implemented in December 2022. South County Circulator Services and supporting bus stop infrastructure were completed this year. We completed in January the Gonzales and Soledad, and we've got the services running effective this July in Greenfield. So that's all completed. And our ridership growth is better than that of many larger systems. Your board at that time said you wanted to see a 20% growth in ridership over the period. We far exceeded that number, and we're currently at about 85% of pre-COVID ridership, which is higher than the average around the country and higher than many of the largest cities in the country are averaging at about 80%. Our contactless payment system technology continues to grow in popularity, and the transit app as well is also being adopted at a greater rate. Some of the challenges that we have: cost of labor, benefits, and our contracted operations has increased significantly during the period. The board's decision to direct services to more I know this is an unpopular term and it's a state-derived term. I'm going to have to find a different way to say it, but the state calls them disadvantaged communities. But those neighborhoods that have lower income, lower access to jobs, lower car ownership, your board asked us to direct more service to those areas, which we did, and we've seen ridership in those areas increase. However, they have not increased to replace the amount of services that were supplanted with the Better Bus Network in COVID, wherein we had partnerships with the military, in particular, where we were running buses around in circles all around the Defense Language Institute, picking up soldiers. That stopped during COVID, and the military has basically declined to pick that service up again. That ridership and that revenue has not been supplanted by the increased ridership that we've seen. So we still have some challenges there. As I mentioned earlier, on-street information systems, the LED signs, are technologically obsolete. And we want to complement our open loop contactless payment system, which means being able to pay with your own personal credit card, debit card, mobile device. For those members of the community who don't have access to a credit card or debit card, we wanted to create our own MST branded contactless payment solution, and we've been pursuing that. And to date, we've not found a vendor willing to take that on due to the volume of transactions that they want to see to make it cost effective for them. So we've been partnering with Santa Cruz Metro, San Luis Obispo Transit, Santa Barbara Transit, MetroLink, and Capital Corridor all have the same system, and we're hoping that those agencies, the volume of those agencies, all in combination, will provide an opportunity for the private sector to enter the market to provide a closed loop, individually branded contactless card. So more to come on that. We'll be looking at more on that in the future. Another challenge that we have that's Measure Q related is that we provide taxi vouchers to communities for seniors, veterans, and persons with disabilities to take discounted rides on taxi cabs. However, and it's very popular in those cities that have taxi cabs. Unfortunately, south of Salinas, there are no taxi cabs. And we have worked diligently with the cities to work on their ordinances to allow taxi cabs. We've attempted to encourage the larger taxi cab operators to operate in these South County cities so that we can offer these on-demand trips, discounted on-demand trips to the South County cities. And to date, it hasn't happened. So we're working on opportunities. There was recently a grant opportunity through TAMC that we applied for that would have helped us work with a transportation network company like an Uber or Lyft to operate in the South County cities and to accept these taxi vouchers. That ultimately was not funded through that program. We do have some other creative approaches that the staff would like to pursue in ultimately providing that level of service to the South County cities. We see this as a gap in services to those communities. Goal number 3. Go ahead.
So just 2 things. One is clarification on the matrix. Are we eliminating the goals, or or what do we want to put down as we're going through it? The goals, the tactics?
Jerry?
So any of those things. So it could be as broad as a whole goal area, or it could be something very specific, a tactic within that goal that wasn't working. So it's really up to you. It could be very broad or very narrow. What we want to do today is just capture your thoughts about some things that you know are working, want to continue, some things that you want to jettison, and then a couple in between.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm looking at the time and I'm getting nervous here. I'm talking too much. So board protocols. We want a well-satisfied board. We've had the board take on some initiatives and using the committee structure to do so. The board, we've had a lot of interest, more than any board I've seen in the past 25 years, in attending conferences and workshops. One of the challenges that I see is that while we're doing a great job of getting you out into national and state workshops, staff wonders if your board wouldn't benefit from more workshops or more sessions or specific sessions, kind of a transit 101 on specific topics like how our budgets are put together, the ins and outs of the zero emission bus transition, other topics of interest for you. Measure Q, we do provide you with reports periodically, but I'm not certain. I don't have a feel for whether you're getting enough of that or would you want more. Item 4, promote policies and practices that encourage environmental sustainability and resource conservation. We've implemented our clean transit rollout plan. We've got 13 new zero emission buses on order to be delivered at the end of this year or early next year. We converted our entire fleet of heavy duty buses, that's the big buses, to 100% renewable biodiesel. And 100% of our electric buses are powered by renewable electric sources. We're designing solar powered microgrids at our facilities and are seeking funding to actually build those. Again, as I mentioned, we have a huge unfunded capital need in this area and a approaching deadline from the state. At the same time, the governor's budget proposed reductions in the proposed cap and trade program that's now cap and invest that we rely on. It's still uncertain how reliable those funds will be for the future as the state deals with its deficits. As a result of this and our continued inability to get federal funds, and you have an administration that doesn't seem to be that interested in hydrogen and electric powered vehicles. So we're still waiting to see what the federal response is going to be. The board may need to formally request a exemption from the state mandate if we're not able to put the money together. So that's something that I think we really need to consider. As well-intentioned as we want to be, and as we want to be kind to our planet, as in our mission statement and brand vision statement, if we don't have the money and the money's not coming forward, we may just have to ask for an exemption. So more to come on that. Educating the public on promotions. We've had, let's see. There we are. Passenger boardings increased. I guess the proof about our education and increased ridership. We increased 67% ridership. We're looking for 20% increase target. I think I mentioned this all before. We're at 85% pre-COVID numbers. And we have a really successful social media program and engagement on our transit app. And I think our marketing and educational activities, especially working with the MCHA, sponsoring special events with them, working with Rancho Cielo, Hartnell, MPC, has been and CSUMB, we've been seeing a lot of growth in ridership in those areas. However, 85% is still 85%. It's not 100%. And as a result, we're not getting the fare revenue that we once were. Not having that fare revenue and having increasing costs due to labor and benefits and everything else, that's creating this gap. And we're having to rely on reserves, and they're substantial. We could go several more years operating on reserves, but not indefinitely. We need to go over the next 5 years, find a way to get our ridership and fare revenue back to a sustainable rate. Moving on, promoting organizational values, recognizing and celebrating our achievements. I think we've seen a very high level of satisfaction in the community among riders and non-riders in our customer surveys, our opinion research that's done for polling. Support strong continued local funding for transit and our programs. We've developed new recognition programs. You've seen and experienced, many of you, our barbecues that we have for our employees. We have a great relationship with our ATU and MSTEA leadership, and we haven't had a labor action at MST in over 50 years. So I think that speaks something to our relationships. Enhancing leadership at like-size agencies. We are the poster child at all conferences, whether it's CalAct for rural agencies, CTA, or national associations, even non-association conferences. Michael Coleman, our IT person, Lisa, Michelle, Kelly, myself, Christy, and Mobility Services. We're on the agendas of every conference and program around. People want to know how we do things here. We have conferences being selected, Monterey's being selected as conference locations because these, like the American Planning Association, want to see how we did the surf. So we have a very high profile in the industry, and we were most recently named the #1 transit operator in small rural communities nationwide. Not too many challenges in that area. to speak of. That concludes my report.
So. So, shall we go to the board? We do have like a very short time.
Well, we can continue we don't have much on the board agenda, so.
But we do have a 10 o'clock hard stop for.
10:30 for
10:30.
Don Gilchrist. Okay.
Jerry?
Jerry?
All right, thank you. And that's a lot to cover. So hopefully, board members, you've been able to identify a few things in that list that you really want to continue, maybe even invest more in. A few things on the list that you don't think you're getting the bang for the buck, and then items in the middle. Next, I believe we wanted to do a quick review of the Better Bus Network, followed by a presentation of the results of your survey. And then I'll come back on after Michelle and Lisa to kind of wrap up with the 4-quadrant form.
Right. Good morning, board members. Michelle Overmeyer. I'm the Director of Planning and Innovation. Most transit agencies review their transit networks every 5 to 10 years to make sure their service matches the community's needs as things change over time. We redesigned our fixed route system 2.5 years ago, and I'm going to share some highlights in this presentation. Next slide, please. So why did we redesign? It had been 20 years since MST did a comprehensive redesign. At that time, Carl had hair, you can see in the picture.
Wow.
But many changes had taken place in and around the county, but without consistent policy on where and how much service to provide. There were inconsistent bus schedules. Some routes operated as late as 2 or 3 in the morning, where others ended at 6 p.m. And then, as Carl mentioned, up until 2019, we were receiving a substantial amount of money from the military to operate transit service to the military bases, but that participation declined. And then COVID-19 hit, and we lost a lot of our ridership. So with the federal COVID relief funds, we were able to hire a consultant to help us re-envision our system. Next slide. So planning out the new bus network started in early 2021 and resulted in the Better Bus Network, which took effect in December of 2022. We focused on redesigning MST's general funded transit lines. So the City of Monterey and the Aquarium fund the trolley, and that's not considered a general funded route. Same with our service to Gilroy. Line 59 is funded in a partnership with Santa Clara BTA and a Caltrans grant, and those are not considered general funded services. Everything else was included in this network redesign. It was redesigned for faster and more direct trips. At the same time, we changed our fare policy. So riders now pay $2 to use MST for 2 hours with unlimited transfers. And there's a 50% reduced fare for those who qualify. Next slide. So this is what our network looks like now. We provide our customers with reliable service that's based on 15-minute, 30-minute, or 60-minute frequencies throughout the day. The buses meet at the major transit hubs with timely connections so riders can efficiently transfer to another bus and get to their final destinations more quickly than we did before. The system map is hard to see here, but you can see it on our website, and it's color coded. So if you're on a red corridor like East Alisal and Salinas, you know the bus is coming every 15 minutes. The navy blue corridors like Reservation and Marina have a bus coming every 30 minutes. And the teal colored corridors like Carmel Valley Road have hourly service. The lighter brown corridors like Castroville Road have infrequent service, which is every 2 hours or more. We're focusing our resources where more people live and work and targeting the areas of greatest need in our communities. So with the elimination of the military services, we rebalance the hours that we operate So Salinas now has roughly the same number of hours as the peninsula, and the rural and lower population areas have less service. Next slide. The Better Bus Network exceeded our Title VI goals for the amount of Monterey County residents who are located within half a mile of a bus stop. Nearly 90% of all low-income residents in the county are near a bus stop. And this is based on our 2025 full operating schedule when colleges are in and line 25 and line 47 are serving CSUMB and Hartnell's East Campus. Next slide. This one is a nice graph showing how our ridership has changed. Blue is before the Better Bus Network, orange is after. Our ridership is growing, and we're continuing to see peaks in our ridership from about February to October, which is during the growing season. And then we do see annual dips in the winter months. Overall, the ridership is up. When we compare January to May before the Better Bus Network to January to May of this year, we're up 59%. Our most popular bus stops are located on the most popular lines. Next slide. And those are lines 20, 41, and Jazz B. So Alisal and Salinas is our highest ridership area. Line 41 is in orange, serving the Alisal and Salinas. It carried over 35,000 riders in May. That part of town is heavily congested, and our buses do struggle to stay on schedule. And that's why we've started the East Alisal Bus Rapid Transit study earlier this summer. We're looking at ways to speed up that line 41 for all of those riders. The second most popular route in our system is in pink. That's line 20, and that carried over 30,000 riders in May between Salinas and Monterey. And the good news on this one is that that will turn into the surf line once that's completed. Right now we have 30-minute service on that on weekdays, and it'll be going to 15-minute service with the surf. And then the third most popular is Jazz B, which connects residents of Seaside to Monterey. And that carried 20,000 riders in May. Next slide. Line 23 is the spine of MST's service in Salinas Valley, and it connects Salinas to King City and all of the cities in between. We're seeing a large increase here in South County residents that are traveling to and from Salinas. In fact, we've had to add service beyond what the Better Bus Network called for. We have additional trips during peak hours, and this is to accommodate all the riders that want to be on line 23 without having anybody stand while we're driving on Highway 101. Before the Better Bus Network, we were averaging 560 daily boardings on weekdays. And this year we're at 630 weekday boardings. So it is going up. Next slide. I'm going to preface this slide by saying that MST doesn't consider one community more valuable than another. As Carl mentioned, this is a state definition. The state uses the Cal EnviroScreen tool to direct the cap and trade program money. And they've targeted the areas of the state that have historically been disproportionately burdened by pollution and environmental hazards. We get about $1 million every year in cap and trade money, and the state expects us to focus those funds on these priority populations. So about 6% of Monterey County residents live in one of these communities. And so if you look to the column on the left, that's Monterey County. The reddish color is the percentage of residents in one of those communities. Before Better Bus Network, the middle column, about 13% of our boardings took place in those communities. And since we've redesigned our system, in calendar year 2024, the column on the right, we're showing about a quarter of our boardings are taking place in those communities now. The state's cap and trade program is being renegotiated this year, and I'm hoping that our efforts are going to be looked favorably as the state adjusts that program. Next slide. And that is all I have. I don't know if you want to take questions. I know we have 2 more items on the planning workshop.
Any questions? Thank you, Michelle. Lots of information. Yes. Moving on to review of MST board and executive team survey results. Lisa.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. I will be brief. You have the presentation before you, and if IT folks, Scott, if you could bring it up, that'd be great. Next slide, please. So I'm going to go over, well, I guess you are getting the presentation in front of you. The first portion I'm going to report on, just sort of in general trends, is the glows and grows. That's the areas where we're super proud of what we've accomplished over the last 4 years, and the grows are, well, maybe we could have done a better job. It's a growth mindset of, you know, what could we have done better, or what should we have done better? And then we'll talk about the top priorities between both the MST board survey responses and the executive team. And then I'm not going to go too much into the monthly report performance measures. You can see them on the slides. Next slide, please. So first I'm going to start with the board glows. Everyone, and this was a theme throughout, everyone seems really proud of the accomplishments we've made with the SURF project. And we should be. It's a big project. And also the Better Bus Network, which you saw a presentation on. The tap to ride or contactless fare payment is another area where a lot of folks were happy. And then also the board was happy about serving those in most need of public transportation. And then I would be a poor employee if I didn't say that the board is happy with the general manager, CEO. But also with the professionalism and effectiveness of the MST staff as well.
More like it.
So let's go on to the next one. These are the common themes again. The service to the public, Better Bus Network, SURF project, the tap to pay. But also the executive team was really happy with your support as a board in trying to do what we do and the service that we have to our community. So I thought that was really nice. A lot of what I saw in these answers were the board was more focused towards the outside, to the customers, to our community, and staff were, we had some focus there, but more focus sort of inwards in what we're trying to accomplish within our organization. So we felt like there's some positive employee relations that we're fostering and what have you. So next slide. So some areas where the board thought we could grow. Again, this is more the outward facing stuff, communication between MST and the customers. Felt like that was a really positive thing that we contribute, along with the technologies, the marketing, promoting what we do, more frequent service, better on-time performance. You know, those are some of the areas that maybe we could do a little bit better job on. And then in terms of the executive team, on the next slide, maybe there's, again, inward facing, maybe there's some better internal management processes that we could implement. Also understanding, you know, the interdepartmental communication challenges. I will say that interdepartmental communication challenges are across board, the transit industry, across almost every sector of any kind of organization or company that is large. You're always going to have internal communication challenges. We also need a website update. It's a continuing recruitment and hiring challenge, and specifically at the moment with mechanics, et cetera, et cetera. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's talk about priorities really quickly here. Of course, the surf project, I'll highlight that again, making sure we're staying on schedule. Encouraging and promoting non-transit riders to use public transit. There is one about the transit app, making it more user-friendly on mobile devices. Of course, recruitment of coach operators, and I just mentioned mechanics, so we could probably add mechanics in there. Making sure that we're working with the local jurisdictions and looking at the big picture. Next slide. There were also some common themes on working with our partners with schools, senior centers, Veterans Transition Center, shelters on promoting our services and helping out the community in that way. And then there was also one to Carl's earlier point about the budget and balancing the budget, making sure that we can lower the amount that we're relying on reserves to be able to balance the budget. And then next slide. And then the executive team's priorities are related to some of the mandates that we have, zero emission capital needs. One area that we identified as needing to have a single point of contact for, capital project implementation or project management. We wanted to, of course, focus on workforce and development as we transition through the years. People come, people go. Of course, the SURF implementation and transition to contactless. So the next several slides you can see on your handout where the board and where the executive team felt that the monthly report was either essential, useful but not essential, or not useful. So I just highlighted the ones that were either essential or useful and essential and where those differences were. Next slide, please. So we'll just go to the next slide.
Super interesting.
It was interesting. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide.
I know that.
Next slide. Okay. This is where I wanted to get to. So in total, we have 40 performance measures within that monthly report. 13 of them were voted as essential by the board. 15 were voted essential by the executive team. And 12 of those were voted as essential or useful by both the executive and the board. So that's what I had for you today. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them. I tried to go through that as quickly as I could.
It was great. Thank you, Lisa. Oh, question, Ann.
Yeah, thank you. I want to focus on the last chart on the survey,
Okay.
and that's the one that's all green up on the board and all down on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I know that there's interpretation of the question and the role. But I'm just wondering, I'd love to hear from staff. And this is related to staff time in producing the monthly reports. Is staff saying that there may be opportunities where it would save you efficiency and time if you did not provide that to the board? And that's what your thumb down is, because our board perspective clearly says we value the monthly reports for these categories.
Exactly.
So is staff saying that's something we should talk about? And maybe that's, we bring it up in August when we have more time. Because if it's about efficiency, it's about an opportunity to revise what we do. I'd love to hear that from staff.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. I was not prepared to opine as to which ones stay or which ones go at this
Yeah.
point. I'm
Yeah.
purely giving you the results, and I think you're right. We need to hunt that.
And I'll say that staff wasn't monolithic in their ratings of these, because there's some of these that I said were essential.
Yeah.
That the rest of the executive team apparently didn't think were essential. So we're going to have some internal discussions about why that is. So this is a really interesting exercise to go through, I think, for both the staff and for the board.
So for example, and to your point, Carl, on the open positions, we had 7 responses. 4 of them said useful but not essential, and 3 said essential. So it's, just one
Split.
person. So.
And I think it probably is the role, because if someone's not involved in HR, they probably are not thinking like HR would or like staff, because I think all of the board would say, open positions are absolutely essential and we want to know about that. So I think it's an opportunity for us to, figure out, are there places where we can say, let's put it on the side of revise, let's put it on the side of continue doing it. And I think it's reflective of really the core values of both executive and board, where there's an opportunity to identify opportunities.
And I think to your point, with 40 different performance measures,
Yeah.
this helps narrow down the ones that are either essential by everybody,
Yeah.
or maybe there's a conversation about those on the cusp.
It's a methodology
Yeah.
of forced selection that
Exactly.
value.
Yes, exactly.
Director, LaBar?
Yeah, and I was gonna point out, first ask how many respondents, we only had 7 respondents.
8.
out of
Yeah, we had 8 out of,
8
I ended
out
up
of
getting
13.
another one, yeah.
And even though they're all thumbs up, I wasn't on those items. There's many that those aren't useful to me as well. So I think it would be better if that information was provided not with thumbs up or thumbs down, but actuals, so we can see how board members really felt about it. 'Cause the green says that we all felt the same.
Yeah.
I didn't.
We
Sure,
should bring
we-
that back in August
In
with,
August, yeah.
Yeah, the actual numbers.
the actual
Yeah.
percentages.
And is it worth asking a couple of different categories, sending it back out to the board? Because it is so valuable, we should have 100% participation at the board level. Are there specific questions that you really still want to have answered from the board? Instead of us just doing it again. Is there any value in saying, okay, these 3 really are essential for the board to be able to participate too? Tell the executive team.
Or take the 15
Yeah.
that were identified as in the positive to absolute, and we find those.
Yes. You can do that. You can do whatever you want. I think we will, I think the best idea is to get the numbers, as suggested by Mike with the percentages, was it a 51 to 49%?
Yeah.
Or was it an 80% to 20%, yes or no? And I think when we have that data, I think the rest of it will follow pretty quickly, in the line.
And also Carl, so could we we could talk about it when we come back, but under your report,
Mhm.
if I think what the board's looking maybe at some of these questions, on employees, are we having problems with getting workers? So should the board know, could we summarize something or maybe look at something like.
Yeah, I think right now and I don't mean to speak too much for Kelly, but out of time, I will. Mechanics are the biggest challenge that we have right now. It had been drivers, but I think it seems like we've got a lot of offers out right now for the next class. We'll see, it's always hard to tell who actually shows up when the class shows up. We get a lot of interest, but then whether they show up for the first day or not, we have implemented these breadcrumbs to incentivize people to show up and complete their training and stay a year, stay 2 years. So that's been working as well. Other than mechanics, Kelly, anything else that's we
The
need?
recruiting of mechanics isn't necessarily hard.
Okay, understood. So it's actual selecting them in. We get people who are interested in working here and they don't necessarily make it through our interview process. And so what we're looking at is, are we being too picky about for ourselves? Are we doing ourselves a disservice by expecting someone to come in fully capable to do everything we need them to do, or should we be willing to do more training? And that's an internal discussion that we need to have. And you saw some of those comments from the executive leadership team, some of that internal communications that goes back and forth. So, Jerry,
Great.
where do we want to go for today? And I apologize, I was a big part of the timer. I know we started a little bit late getting you off the ground.
Yeah.
But I took a lot longer, but there were 7 priorities. It's hard to.
I have a comment.
Right. Is it possible for me to take just 5 more minutes with you all?
Yes.
Did we have,
Yeah, I do want to make a comment.
one
before-
comment?
Because before he finishes up,
Yeah.
please, Chair. Very frustrated with the first part of this portion with going over the past strategic plan and then identifying what we want to remove. To me, I felt it very disoriented and disjointed in the fact that the tactics should have been labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we could write down. This wasn't, quite honestly, a useful, or just my personal feeling, useful use of our time. A lot of these tactics are written in such a way that it's hard to say, no, don't continue. And then not having numbers associated with each one.
Each tactic?
It requires you to write out the whole tactic if you want to remove it. So it's clearly identified. I would prefer to be able to submit something later, like with a few days, so I can have time to type it out instead of handwrite it. So.
Would
that's just
you, could I send the strategic plan to you in a different format that makes it easier for you to respond? Would that be useful if we gave that?
Oh, yeah, more than likely, but I would just need, and I'm sorry to take this time, but I would need more time to physically write things out. It would have been easier for me, goal 1, tactic 1, keep, goal 1, tactic 2, remove.
Yeah.
And then any notes next to it, that would have been preferable, but that's just for the future.
Yeah, it's instead of the check marks. It's a-
Yeah, that was the, you know, that was how the document was produced, and I just, you know,
So that was just a little feedback.
yeah, that was, you know, cut and paste from the old document and then insert, this is how we did. You know,
No problem.
yeah, I hear you.
I'm just trying to explain why my work's not gonna be finished today.
Yeah, neither is mine.
I don't think we weren't looking to be finished today for sure. I think was a way to, as a way to introduce introduce the topics, introduce where we were, so that we can have some basis to start on in August. So Jerry, any suggestions on how to move forward?
Yeah, great. And thank you for sharing that feedback. After today's meeting, I'll circle back with Carl and Lisa and the staff and see if we can come up with a way to make it easy for you to provide that feedback between now and August 11th. What we wanted to do today is give you an assessment of how the agency performed against your last strategic plan. And I know we're trying to pack a lot into this hour, but to get you thinking about what's working, what's not working. You've addressed several pretty important strategic issues. For example, you know, you're losing ridership and revenue from your military contracts, but you're investing more resources in communities where people maybe need transit more, or their life is impacted more by having transit service. And so thinking about those kinds of things and how you want to position yourself and where you put your resources is what we wanted to get started today. So we can certainly work to give you another opportunity, maybe that's more straightforward and easier for you to think about those things and come on August 11th prepared to enter into a discussion about what we want to keep and what we want to let go of. So thank you for that feedback.
So Jerry, what I would suggest is that the board members hold on to your notes and to look for something from staff sooner rather than later, while the discussion is fresh in your mind, with something reformatted for you that will be easier for you to respond to with your notes. And we can, I'm going to have to jump on that this week. And because next week I'm not going to be available a lot. So let's commit to that.
Great. I'll make myself available, Carl, to assist in that.
Just add a number, because I can, you know, mentally I'm already going 1, 2, 3, 4.
Would that be useful to anybody else other than Mike?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So okay, great. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to start chasing down Mike's path if that's not going to be useful to everybody. Okay, that will be very easy for us to do.
Just to redact.
And just changing the checks to numbers or letters, and we'll let you then provide you with some way to provide your edited remarks. Maybe we'll give you a document that's editable and you can just type in what you want to do. Staff will take a look at that. We'll work with Jerry on that. But thank you and apologize that we, didn't get it right the first time.
Okay.
If I can just make one more comment about the performance measures and your evaluation of those, we will come back to that at the very end of this process after the board has articulated their strategies and goals. And as the staff comes back to you with specific tactics and initiatives and programs, they'll also be presenting to you an updated monthly report format and measurement. And what I will say about that is it's very common in transit, especially, to just have way too many things that you're being asked to look at every month. And these are called dashboards because when you think about driving a vehicle, and in my 34 years in public transit, we learned the hard way, you can't overwhelm your bus drivers and your train operators with too much information. They need to pay attention to just a couple of things. And that is also true for a policy board like you. You're more effective if you can pay attention to a half a dozen items that are really critical to the strategic performance of the agency. So we'll come back to that at the very end of this process when the leadership team is presenting back to the board the detailed tactics and action plans for the next 4 years. So thank you again so much. And my last comment is, you have a lot to be proud of. I'm impressed with this agency, and I really appreciate the opportunity to work with you all.
Thank you.
We'll all meet again on this topic at 9 a.m. on August 11th. So, and then we'll have a full 3 or 4 hours of this, and we'll be able to spend an appropriate amount of time on each of these things. What's that?
I won't be.
Oh, you
here.
won't be here. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be gone,
Okay.
but that's okay. I've got the basics here.
Okay.
And Carl, before we come back, we had so many members respond. Can we send out the new form, get that, make sure that we update the form and resend that? And I'll once again ask for 100% participation. I think I sent a memo out.
We don't know who didn't respond, correct, Lisa? Those are strictly anonymous?
Correct.
Yeah. So,
How many people did not respond?
5.
5. That's a lot.
How much time does it take to compile?
I took it before I sent it out and it took me about 6.5 minutes. I figured 5 to 10.
No, the question is, how long does it take you to take the data to put together the results of the survey?
It depends on the response. If there's people are more verbose, I mean.
But you were
it's
looking
not
more
too
at the
bad.
numbers?
No, I'm saying, is it worth doing it again? And we lean on everyone and we start over to get 100%. But if it's gonna take you 30 hours to compile a report.
We're talking hours.
Nah.
Couple hours.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking, to make it clean, sometimes these things, you're better off to just start over and ask everyone absolutely a deadline and tell everybody, we're still missing 5, so we're doing this again.
Does anyone who's already taken the survey feel put out by doing it again?
No.
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 Okay.
I wish I would have saved it. I didn't save it.
I'll say that I did the survey. I don't want to really do it again, but I'll do it again if it goes out.
It's not necessary for everyone to do it again. If you're happy with your results, and that's fine. I can just reopen the survey and the people who didn't take it.
There
and
you
just
go.
here you go. Yeah.
That's better.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
And with that, do you want to start it a little early or do you want to go ahead? What time did?
We should close the workshop, and I would suggest moving to the federal legislative advocacy report because Donnie has a 10:30
Okay.
meeting with another client.
Okay, so with that, we'll go
Not that he
ahead,
doesn't love us.
we'll go ahead and close out the this portion, and should be a consent agenda, but I'm gonna ask the board due to timing for Don Gilchrist then we move item 4 up. Are you guys all okay with that?
Good with me.
Yes.
Okay, so with that there, we will go ahead and move on to item 4.1, federal legislative advocacy report. And Don Gilchrist is here.
Yes, yes. Good morning, Chair, members of the board. Thank you for allowing me to speak at this time. That helps me out quite a bit. And again, for the record, it's Don Gilchrist. I'm the president of Thomas Walters and Associates, and I'm going to be speaking to you about the federal program. And of course, the big news is the enactment of the budget reconciliation law on July 4th. For MST, it's actually much more significant that we're getting into a very busy time on appropriations. This is the discretionary spending side of the federal government, and Congress has to enact the fiscal year 2026 appropriations bills.
I asked you to use your outside voice.
Am I not coming through?
Yeah,
Speak up a little bit.
Okay. And so we want to see these appropriations bills enacted into law by October 1, but it's fairly obvious that that is not going to take place. There's just a huge chasm between the two parties on what the funding level should be. President Trump has proposed large spending cuts on the non-defense side, and that's creating a problem with moving these bills through the process. What we're going to see is the House Appropriations Committee is going to be drafting its versions of the bills during July, and the Senate Appropriations Committee is going to be trying to do the same, but they'll probably bleed over into September. The news today is that the House Appropriations Committee is marking up its transportation bill at the subcommittee level, and that is going to provide us some insights into where transportation funding goes for this year, and especially the transit programs that MST is concerned about. I'm still reviewing the information. They have only provided some initial information. We will see much more detailed information when they mark this bill up at the full committee on Thursday, but we can tell right now some of the outlines. So it looks like they are going to be proposing cuts to transportation programs. Probably not as deep as some of the other agencies in the federal government, but they will be significant proposals. And they're going to be disguising these cuts by reallocating or reprogramming money from the infrastructure law over into the appropriations process. So on paper, it will not look like there are deep cuts, but in reality, there will be less money available for some of these transportation programs. This will not affect your formula programs. Those will be funded in full, and that's the most important thing. But it will affect programs like the Capital Investment Grants Program, which is where the SURF money came from. So we do care about that program. And they're essentially going to be zeroing that program out so that the only funding that would be available next year would be the infrastructure law funding, which is significant, $1.6 billion. However, we wanted to see them add to that total by appropriating additional funding in FY26, which is what we see each year on top of the infrastructure law. So we'll see where this goes from here. I'm expecting the Senate process to be a little bit more friendly to our priorities, and we'll continue to lobby this each step of the way. We're looking at a bill that will not get enacted until very late this year. It's going to be tied up in the overall back and forth disputes over the larger appropriations issues, which is how much should we appropriate for defense programs and how much should we appropriate for non-defense programs. So long way to go on this. The news is not great today, but I do think we have a lot of ways to influence this process, and we should come out okay in the end. So I'll pause there and see if I can address any additional concerns or questions.
I have a question. Regarding where you said that they may use some of the infrastructure law to backfill some of the cuts in the transit funding. will that ultimately create a new baseline when that infrastructure money is gone? And would
It
that
should-
baseline be lower?
It should not affect the baseline. I think that's one of the reasons they're doing it this way is they don't want to give any ground on the baseline. So at least that part of it is better than an outright cut.
Okay, and at the moment, are you expecting 5%, 10%, or you have any idea of what's being talked about?
In terms of the cuts, I apologize, I'm not remembering. I think it's on the order of 4 to 6%.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Not seeing any.
Okay,
All right. Well,
thank you, Don.
Thank you for accommodating me. Great talking to you.
Back on track.
We got them out early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye now.
Okay. With that, we'll go ahead and move on back to item 3. We have the consent calendar, and the consent calendar has items 3.1 through 3.9. These items can be approved in a single motion. If does any of the board directors, if you'd like to request that a item be discussed or considered separately, please speak now. And I see Elizabeth.
Yeah, just a minor edit for 3.2, the meeting minutes, June 9th. I was present and not my alternate.
Oh.
So,
Okay, so we have that, so on the June 9th meeting minutes, Elizabeth was there, present. Just, Gloria de la
yes, I will also, pull 3.3-2, the minutes, I was not present either. So I will not be voting on that.
Okay, so Tony, or just you weren't present?
Yeah,
She won't vote because she was
Okay,
not.
so
Yeah,
you'll have-
right.
Just abstain.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Director Fisher and Director De La Rosa to abstain.
No, we're reflecting, the minutes will be reflected to show that Director Vischer was present at the meeting.
Yeah.
Director Del Rosa will abstain when the vote comes.
okay, Director Worthy.
I believe it's 3.7. For some reason, I can't find it in my papers here. Is that the one about the
South County.
circulators?
Yeah, South County Circuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, says.
Michelle, if I could just ask a question to you. I saw what the increases were for the MST circulators. I just want, it seems like it's improving from what I can see. I mean, is that what your data shows? I mean, we're still kind of low with the circulators. I mean, we're in the 400s, but I'm always concerned because we had a discussion about this in the past, that if it doesn't seem like people are taking the circulators, that maybe eventually you would consider discontinuing those? No, that's not true.
We can pull it and have a
Yeah.
further discussion if you.
Yes, I like it pulled. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I
so-
just trying to make it quick because I know
Okay,
we
nope.
are on a time.
I did want to ask about that item too,
Okay.
just because I know we weren't gonna have much for Greenfield with the circulators since they just started. So maybe when we come back and we do have a little more information about that. I do appreciate the information about the rides program though, and it's great to see that we've had 12 more
We should
residents
pull
between
it.
January to now
I'm
to
sorry.
have
Yeah.
qualified for rides.
Okay, we're gonna pull that item and
Yeah.
discuss it, so we will pull that in just a moment, and so what I will ask, sorry to cut you off, but what I will ask is that we I am looking for a motion to approve all the items but 3.7, so that there we will pull.
With the suggested amendment, the 3.2,
Yes,
and Director Del Rosa abstaining.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
we have the motion and a second. All those in favor? please
Aye.
Aye.
I, and for the record, Gloria de la Rosa did abstain. We'll now go on to item 3.7, the item that has been pulled. And regarding update on the implementation South County circulators, and Michelle. We'll have.
Chair, we should go for public comment.
Oh, I apologize. So on the first items before. Item,
Just on item 3.7.
oh, on item, yes, we will do that. We will go, but we will have have Michelle start off with a staff report presentation. Michelle.
Hello again, Michelle Overmeyer, Director of Planning and Innovation. So item 3.7 has a full staff report on page 37. And there's a pretty lengthy set of attachments that go with this. There's a lot of data there. So I'm not going to go through all of this in detail, but basically we're presenting information on the general public on-call services for this 4 South County cities. And then what the new fixed route circulator data looks like for the data that we have. King City started 2.5 years ago, so we have a lot of data on that one. Soledad and Gonzales started at the beginning of this calendar year, so we have 5 months of data on that one. And then Greenfield just started at the very end of May, so we have 3 or 4 days of data, so it's very limited. And then there's also information in here. The question was how many passengers have requested to be rides clients. And so we have that information from January to May of this year, and it's pretty low.
Yeah.
So to go back to your question about the lower performing circulators, will they be canceled? No, they won't. That's not in our plan at all. We're going to continue to monitor. Gonzales does have some low ridership. That particular route is a 40-minute runtime, whereas the others are 30 minutes, so they can connect with line 23. The Gonzales circulator doesn't connect with 23 very well because we're serving the west side of the railroad tracks, which has very low ridership. If you look in the attachments, you can see there's about 1 boarding a day. We're going to monitor this for a few more months. Soledad is doing really well. So we're going to take a closer look at what's going on there. I think that has to do with Hartnell College. That's where a lot of the boardings are. We're going to see if we can replicate some of maybe the outreach or figure out what's going on there.
Larger population too.
That could be it too.
Yeah.
So no, we're not canceling them, but we may revise that route.
Okay.
Were there any other questions?
So
No.
any other questions?
Thank you.
Just the request to refresh this after a couple months that we have data from Greenfield.
Good.
Okay.
You can do that. Thank you.
With that, I will go ahead and open this up for public comment. So public comment is open on this item. And no one in the boardroom, and I do not see any hands up via Zoom. So we will go ahead and close public comment. And I will bring it back to the directors for further discussion, and that was that we bring a updated report that more numbers to the board meeting.
Greenfield, yes, I'm interested to see if there was a jump in residents that qualified for the rides program, since there was a lot of targeted outreach done in our community to get those folks that were concerned about losing transportation that would qualify for rides. And then just seeing the use of the circulars, see how it's going over those couple of months. That'd be great.
Thank you, and I believe staff has direction there to bring that back. And with that, if there's no other questions or comments, I will ask for a motion for approval of item 3.7.
Madam Chair, this is agendized to receive the report. The board report has been received. You can move forward.
Okay, all right.
No action necessary.
Okay, no, okay, perfect. So with that, thank you. There's discussion. We will go ahead and move on to item 4.2, state legislative advocacy report, and which is on page 73. Did we have a report out on that?
We have online Mr. Matt Robinson from Shaw, Yoder, Antwi, Smelzer, and Lang, our representative in Sacramento. Um,
Thank,
with some cool tidings.
can you see me? I feel seen now. Thanks for having me, everybody. I'm also joined.
Matt, see if you can turn up your volume a little bit.
Is that better, Carl? How's that?
I think that's all right.
All right. I'm holding the microphone. Can't get any closer than that. Thank you for allowing us to participate virtually today. I am joined by my colleague Michael Pimentel. I'm going to go ahead and just give you sort of a point in time on where we're at in the legislature, or excuse me, the legislative session. Like I normally do, I want to talk about one or two pieces of legislation that we have either been moving forward on your behalf with and or keeping a close watch on because it is a priority piece of legislation for you all. And then I'm going to kick it over to Michael Pimentel, excuse me, who will give you an update on how the state budget landed, particularly in the SB 125 universe. As well as sort of where the cap and trade conversations are at the moment as we work towards extending the cap and trade program and therefore the greenhouse gas reduction fund programs. The legislature came back from spring recess, as you all know, and really hit the ground running, wrapping up the policy committees later this week. It has been a pretty fast-paced few weeks as we have been working on a much more truncated timeline to get those bills out of the policy committees and into the fiscal committees here in the legislature. The fiscal committees will have the benefit of spending their summer recess analyzing legislation as they hit their deadline in late August. As a reminder, the legislature will go on recess this Friday, and then they will reconvene on August 18th. And those fiscal committees will have until the end of the month to move the bills out of their committee and onto the floors of the houses, at which point we are sort of in that final sprint to adjourning the first year of the two-year session on September 12th, although I would venture to guess that probably lingers into the early morning hours of the 13th as they try to put everything to bed. But so far, we have had some good luck on the bills that we care about, particularly our MST sponsored bill dealing with the extension of our 1/8 cent sales tax for transit services for our veterans, the disabled and the elderly down in Monterey County. We actually cleared our fourth and final policy committee last week. Again, the bill was passed out on a party line vote, and we expect no issues in the appropriations committees and will soon be on the assembly floor, at which point I expect we will be sending the legislation downstairs to the governor's office after we come back from summer recess. We'll be meeting with the administration just for one final check to make sure that they don't have any issues with the legislation or want to see any final amendments. Although I will say we have been working with the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration to make sure that it's written in the way they would like it to be written. So I don't expect any hiccups, and hopefully the next time we see you, we will have some good news on that piece of legislation. One other, or actually I'm going to do two other bills that are a priority for MST. One is SB 71. That is the bill that has a number of statutory exemption in it for CEQA. That's a bill that originally was the statute was established by SB 288 and then cleaned up in SB 922. The SURF project is using that statutory exemption to move forward. We are again trying to make additional changes to the law to clean up some of the maybe perhaps more undefined or questionable aspects of the legislation. And so while we don't envision any issues, I would note, I think the key thing is that the bill currently has a 2030 sunset date. That's going to be moved out to 2040. So buying transit agencies like MST and other local agencies opportunities to continue to use those statutory exemptions to move forward the cleanest of the clean transportation projects in their communities. Another bill that really began in the fall, well, going back further than that, but begin in the fall in earnest with efforts by MST very own staff. We convened our transit operators through NORM, as well as our labor allies, and began working on a bill to address transit operator and rider safety. And that's been ensconced in AB 394 by Miss Lori Wilson, the chair of the Assembly Transportation Committee, who's been carrying that bill through the legislature this year. What it would do is it would clarify under the penal code, which has enhanced penalties for the battery of transit operators right now, and expand that to include all of our employees that are operating, or excuse me, working at our transit agencies. So for example, your station area attendants, your janitors that may be out there cleaning the stations, your customer service folks that may be out on the ground or in your offices, they would all now be covered by those enhanced battery provisions. The other thing the bill is going to do is it's going to clarify that transit agencies, public transit operators, are in fact employers under the Code of Civil Procedure when it comes to issuing temporary restraining orders. Some agencies have been able to take advantage of the statutes. However, there have been some questions by various courts throughout the state of California that this isn't workplace. And so we are simply going to be clarifying that we are in fact workplace, and that would allow MST or other operators to petition the courts to really keep, the most unruly, the most violent folks off the systems, off their properties for defined periods of time that would be up to the courts based on the evidence, so to speak. So that bill continues to move. It has its final policy committee hearing tomorrow in the Senate Judiciary Committee. I don't imagine there'll be any issues. We've been working with that committee for several weeks now, and so hopefully that will be smooth sailing there. I will happy to take questions on any of their bills when we're all wrapped up here, Madam Chair. And now I'll go ahead and turn it over to Michael Pimentel, who, as I said, will talk a little bit about the state budget as well as cap and trade.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. And folks, good to be with you this morning. Just want to provide a very high-level overview of the Budget Act of 2025. That bill was signed into law on June 27th. And provides for the continuation of SB 125 programs. You may recall that there were some threats to SB 125 investments for this immediate fiscal year as well as for the next 2 fiscal years. Those threats have been resolved and commitments for those fundings have moved forward. What we're talking about in total is money totaling just shy of $1.1 billion that was protected within this Budget Act. That means that we are going to see those investments move forward between the fiscal years 25-26 and 27-28. Included in that total also is money for the TIRCP Cycle 6 program. This is a one-time investment that the state had made as an augmentation to our standard TIRCP. Now, there are some unresolved questions included within the budget, and very chiefly, they relate to cap and trade. And so one of the things that has not yet been resolved is the status of ongoing investments from the state's Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund into transit supportive programs like the Transit Intercity Rail Capital Program, as well as the Low Carbon Transit Operations Program. That means that for a moment, there is some risk to investments that were made pursuant to TRCP Cycles 5 and Cycle 7, as well as future year investments in what will be subsequent TRCP fund cycles. Those matters are set to be discussed and hopefully resolved when the legislature returns from their summer recess, which begins on July 18th and which will end on August 18th. At that time, they'll be debating more fully how to proceed with the cap and trade program. We would hope that there would be continuation of those investments, preserving monies that were appropriated previously, but also protecting the viability of these programs moving forward. In addition, there was some language included within the Budget Act that had provided for a loan to 4 Bay Area transit agencies. While the loan has been set at a $750 million level, intended to address the most pressing fiscal cliff issues for those agencies. What has not been resolved are a series of the parameters that would be attached to the loan. Think things like the interest rate that would apply, loan repayment period that would apply to those monies. And then finally, I did want to note that the budget did include $132.2 million from a settlement that the state of California entered into with Hino. It's a manufacturer that will invest those monies in the CARB HFIP program that helps support transition to zero emission technologies, including for transit buses. So as these efforts have moved forward, did want to just, of course, acknowledge that MST has played a pretty vital role in advocating for the protection of the dollars that I just described, has been heavily engaged now in setting up hopefully favorable landscape for cap and trade investments moving forward. With support from our team, the MST team has been meeting with members of their legislative delegation to ensure that they're aware of the priorities that MST has for those dollars moving forward, and to hopefully deliver on a successful outcome come the return to the legislature in August, and what will be a final month of activity carrying us out through September 12th. And so I'll stop there, and then Matt and I are happy to take any questions or comments that you all may have.
Okay, thank you, Michael, and Director Labar does have a question.
Thank you for the updates. Regarding the positions on the list of the bills going through, I do generally agree with what was provided. I did have a couple questions on AB 1070. Do you see wide support on the opposition throughout the industry?
Michael, feel free to jump in here, but yeah, when that bill was still up for consideration prior to the policy committee hearings, most of the special districts that were impacted by the bill that are transit agencies were opposed to it.
That's good to hear. On AB 339, this would be a question to staff, because we have it as watch right now, but the 120-day notice regarding issuing requests for proposals in alignment with current jobs that are already being filled. Is that something that would create an overdue burden for the agency and its ability to implement its workload?
It could.
So, and that, maybe that's something the board, we look at moving that to an opposition. If it's starting to, if we're seeing movement that it's looking like it could pass, that might be something we want to go to an opposed position on. Because 4 months prior, it seems kind of onerous. Lastly, this would be a question for you two on SB 79 and for the board members. This is Wiener's bill regarding the ability to ministerially put in housing projects next to transit oriented. Currently, and gentlemen, please correct me if I'm wrong, but currently the legislation is kind of very specific on the types of stops that are included, which are very high used ones, generally going to be in our large areas. But my concern is, while we have a watch position here, we should carefully watch it, because this is one of those that if it does pass, at going forward in the future, it's just amending definitions that could quickly impact us. And I have a concern because we're working for a rail station. While it doesn't meet the current definition, it's one where just a slight tweak in the language in a future iteration could all of a sudden put anybody's jurisdictions and the definition of what a bus stop that is eligible for, or a rail stop that is eligible for ministerial. So this is one we need to really, really watch. I personally would like an opposed position because of the potential impact upon us in our smaller communities. And that impact does create the ability to go to 7 stories in some areas. And the local jurisdictions, their input is minimized on what's reflective.
I'd like to add on, piggyback onto that, Mike. So I believe the League of California Cities, the local jurisdictions, did they not oppose that, and somehow it went through, was voted upon in the 11th hour?
I don't remember.
I believe so.
Matt is nodding his head, so.
Okay.
Matt, can you provide any comment on what's just been shared?
I mean, yeah, the bill is really now focused on exactly what Board Member Labar stated. We've talked about this with MST staff. There are no impacts currently to Monterey County, given the frequencies that would be necessary in order to trigger those allowed densities that would be in the bill adjacent to those major transit stops or stations, as indicated. The bill had additional elements to it that were stripped out along the way. I would say that, like many things related to streamlining denser housing in recent years, despite League of Cities and CSAC and other local agency opposition, they continue to move forward. But I think the potential that this could be amended down the road to change definitions is, I think, always a factor, though this one has been a very hard fought battle for Senator Weiner for other reasons, frankly, not because of local agency opposition, but because of, labor issues with the bill, because of, what were initially, lack of affordable housing requirements in the legislation, et cetera. But it continues to move, and it has one final policy committee hearing in the local government committee on Wednesday of this week.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
So we'll continue to monitor staff with our lobbyists, and if we feel we need to change the board's position to oppose on this, we'll bring it back generally to the administrative committee. But if, we need to move quicker than that, we can bring it back to the full board at any meeting.
And I'd only, if we see a change in the language that expands currently, but already put out my concerns about the future.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? And if not, do we need to open this up to public comment? So we'll go ahead and open this up to public. Public comment is open.
I do not see any hands raised.
No.
And there's anyone in the audience wishing to speak?
Any hands in the audience?
Okay.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and close public comment, and I'd like to thank Michael for your report.
Thank you for having.
Matt as well.
And Matt, Matt, thank you.
No
All right. Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and move on to item 4.3, and this is the July 2025 Employee of the Month recognition. And with us, we have Veronica Carrito.
But it looks like we have the Cuyo, Yoneda Lopez.
Oh,
Good morning. Veronica is out today, so I will be stepping in on her behalf for a good reason. So I'm pretty happy about that. Daniel here. Today I'm happy to introduce to you our Employee of the Month for the month of July, Daniel Rodriguez, a customer service representative. Daniel joined MST about a year ago, and since then he's just demonstrated exceptional dedication to our passengers and our community. He's professional, he's patient, he's just willing to go above and beyond to make the, good experience for our customers. Whether it's answering the telephone or being out doing outreach in person, he just ensures that everybody just gets what they need. They feel heard, they feel supported and valued. So I want to just take a minute here to step back and think about what customer service, in general, we expect from. We call customer service, or we go when we have a problem, when something doesn't work well, when we're not happy about something. That's when we pick up the phone and be like, hey, what's going on? Or I want to talk to your manager. Did I do that? But some people out there do, and it's not always for a positive reason. Some of our interactions are positive and straightforward. I need to buy a pass. Can you tell me what time the bus is coming? And that's customer service in general. That's fine. That's not too difficult. Sometimes questions are about delayed buses, and sometimes we can't control that. There's an accident. We have no control over that. But when we receive a call or a comment, it's not positive. It's always on a kind of starts off negative from the very get-go. And Daniel has a way of kind of bringing that, level of frustration down for people. And it's a great gift. He listens and cares about the people that are in front of him, that are on the other end of the line. It's tough being a customer service representative and just, dealing with that day in and day out. So I wanted to congratulate Daniel on not only making the customer service part of his job, so look so effortless, but also improving that customer experience, because, the experience doesn't start on the bus when you're on the bus. It starts before you get on the bus and it continues after you get off the bus. That's the MST experience, and he does a great job at it. So congratulations and thank you.
Oh, do you usually speak first, or do I speak first? I don't remember. Okay, well, I get the opportunity to, when Danny's working, our customer service reps work around the area. They'll work some days at Salinas, sometimes in Marina, sometimes at our offices here, sometimes at the bus stop shop in Monterey. So they get a feel for all of our areas and the specific needs of our customers. But when Daniel's here, I get the opportunity to listen at least to one side of the conversation as I'm walking to get some coffee or some water. I walk by his workstation and can hear him. And just as Kuyo mentions, he has a very calm and personable demeanor to folks that, hey, they, these are for the most part very low income workers. And if they miss the bus, that can cost them part of their day's wages. It could sometimes, cost them their job. So it may not seem like a big thing to some of us who aren't dependent on transit, but for those who are, something as simple as missing a bus or a delay can have an outsized impact on their life. And Danny just has a way of keeping it calm, keeping it respectful, and treating our passengers with dignity and respect, which is what it's all about. So with that, Danny, I'd like to present you with the resolution from the board, thanking you for your actions and being a great employee of the month, as well as a pen. And then you've already got your check, which is the important part. Here's the check. There we go. Pass it in the back, and there you go. All right. Thank you so much. And if you have anything to share with the board, please do. And then we'll have the board chair come up, take a photo with you.
I just want to say that I'm very grateful and thankful for having Ikuyu and my boss in providing me the tools and the resources that I had needed to make it a really smooth transition into the role that I play in the department that I'm in. I'm also very grateful to have some very good team members such as Pamela. Well, she's not here right now. To have Izzy, Stephanie, and Jackie that have also helped me through some of the challenges and have always been there to help me with anything that I need. So having a good team members behind you, it's always a pleasant thing to do, and it makes your job a lot easier. Also, I'd like to say that there's a lot of people here also behind me that also have helped me out a lot. From Kevin all the way to this side to Norm, everybody has made it a really good environment for me to be in, and makes it, enjoyable for me to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to work, and I'm going to go to work with some good people, because that's what you always want to do. Wake up and say, you know what, I do want to go to work. Lastly, I just want to say that unfortunately my family couldn't be here because we already had some commitments already that couldn't be postponed, but they'll be watching me. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me.
Board chair, vice chair. Leo, come on, I know you. Thank you. All right, thank you. Quick one, good one.
Yes, right next door.
Okay, so it's 3, 4, 5.
Five.
That's what I recall. That's the buttons. Look down here. 3, 4.
Yeah.
One more. Okay, and we'll move on to item 4.4, and this is the 25-year service anniversary of Leticia Trevino, coach operator, and Marcette Henderson will be giving us a little presentation.
Thank you, Chair. And good morning. Oh, yeah, it's still morning. Good morning, members of the board. Marzette Henderson here, Transportation Manager with MST. And we're here to recognize a special milestone for Coach Operator Leticia Trevino. In your packet, we're recognizing Leticia's 25th anniversary with MST. But in addition to her current 25 consecutive years, Leticia was part of the MST family for about a decade prior, making her legacy at MST a total of about 35 years. I realized this because when I was reviewing her list of safe driving and other awards and recognitions, I noticed that they went back to 1992. She had initially joined us in 1989 before taking hiatus and coming back. Leticia has been with us for a long time, and she's become affectionately known as Mama LT because she's steady, compassionate, and an inspiring presence to all her colleagues. Leticia's career is filled with accolades, including Employee of the Month multiple times, and most notably Employee of the Month in April 2020, when she also received Employee of the Year that year for the act of helping a pair of very young lost girls wandering the street barefoot and in distress. Leticia recognized their distress state and brought them on board her bus until law enforcement was able to recover them and reunite them with her parents. That moment captures the heart of who Mama LT is. She leads with kindness and instinctively steps up when others are in need. I'll also note that for her heroic act that day, she was also recognized by the California State Senate for her dedication to protect children and the city of Soledad for her service to the community. And in addition to all that, dating back to 1992, LT has a total of 29 years of accident-free driving with MST. Outside of work, LT has recently taken up the new hobby of e-bike riding along the future of BRT. So I fully expect to see you out there riding alongside us on the bike path when the Surf BRT is up and running. I'll wrap by saying that your heart, your dedication, and your spirit has made MST a better place for all of us. And on behalf of the MST family, thank you and congratulations on 25 plus 10 amazing years.
Wow.
Please welcome me and please join me in congratulating Coach Operator Leticia Trevino for her dedication.
And I was just commenting to Leticia because I was thinking back 25 years, which I had only been here a month at that time. And it was one of the first great decisions that I got to make here at MST because it came to me from Kelly's predecessor's predecessor in HR. Or it wasn't even HR. I think it was Ben Newman, was the director or manager of operations at the time. And he came to me and said, you know, this person would like to come back, but apparently at that time, 25 years ago, I had someone quit. They wouldn't necessarily be reconsidered to come back to work. I don't know why that was, but the question came to me, can we hire Leticia back? And I said, well, why wouldn't we? Was she a good employee? Yeah. So, well, then hire her back. So I'm so glad we did. Those 25 years later, and just you heard it all. I'm happy that whatever small role I played way back then to make that happen, I'm happy we're here today. Thank you, Leticia. Take care. And any words? Sure. Go free.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, 35 years. It's been a very interesting journey. I think I've seen it all, heard it all. Been through a lot of changes. most for the good. Some but we made it, we made it. Happy times. I can't count the happy times I've had here with this company. We had a few sad times, but we're a good team. Pat each other in the back and lift each other up. And a lot of people ask me, if you could, would you do it all over again? In a heartbeat, I would. In a heartbeat. And I tell them, MST is a good company to work for. They take care of you. Yeah, so I haven't been driving for a little while because I have a minor injury. So I was given the opportunity to do light duty in comm center. Okay, for me, it was like, yeah, I'll go up there. I'll just answer a little bit of phones and do a little bit of filing. Oh boy. My first day there, I was like, Kelly, I hate you. Here's your computer. Here's the telephone. This is how we get a hold of the dispatch, the buses. And I'm going, okay, I've been a bus driver for 35 years. The last time I touched a typewriter, I was in my late 20s. How am I going to do this? And then they show me this monster of a copy machine, which does everything except come out and slap my hand when I hit the wrong button. But with the great team up there, Jacob, Omar, Frank, Ricardo, Daisy, our newest member up there, and Giovanni, they helped me. They helped me through it, and I got it. I finally got it. I know how to multitask now. And I call myself a comm center aide now, and they appreciate me being up there because those guys, our whole operation system works smoothly because they are such a good team that you guys have no clue what's going on behind the scene. It's a very stressful job up there, and one little mistake will ruin everybody else's ride to work, doctor's appointment. So I give those guys a lot of kudos, And I know we're short on time. I could go on forever once I get started, but it's kind of sad because I'm gonna have to retire soon. So it's a hard decision. It's a real hard decision to make after you've been with the company for so long and they've taken care of me. But unfortunately, you get to that age and the body gets weak. But I met a lot of great people here. I have no regrets and a lot of awards, and I'm proud of myself. I had a good journey and now I'm ready for my next chapter. Retirement, travel, enjoy the world. So thank everybody so much. Carl, Kelly, I know I was your problem child for a little while, but we made it. We made it. I definitely wasn't the perfect employee, but thank you, Carl.
Thank you so much. Picture?
Yes.
Well, there, you're the star.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have a quick question for you.
Sure.
For Mama LP.
Yes, I
So,
have.
in your 29 and a half years, what's your advice that kept you accident free for? Since we're being recorded.
Just stay focused. Remember, in training, MST is safety first. Always safety. So you slow yourself down. You be patient. You're late. It's okay. We get to point A, point B in a safe manner. Yeah.
Thank you.
Takes a lot of patience.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you.
but thank you. Okay.
Thank you for taking So safety service schedule. Safety's always first, the schedule's always last. Services in between.
So it's okay to be late.
It's
Be
a couple
safe.
minutes, you gotta be
Yeah.
safe. No one wants to be on time and hurt.
Okay, With that, there's no public hearing. We'll move on to item 6.1. It's an action item, and Pearl is going to give us a presentation.
Yeah, it's just a presentation on, it appears that most of you who are here were already at the surf, but we do have a brief a PowerPoint display that can show some of the sites. I think it's 2 minutes long. So if Scott can load that up. I don't think we have any surf music with it, but we did have surf music at our event. Yeah. So we can see some of the sights and sounds, and we did have a great number of, go ahead and, there we go. You can see us out there. We had almost, I believe, 100 people show up, over 20 elected officials from, and representatives from state and local government were there, including John Laird. We had a video update from Jimmy Panetta. And we just had, we passed out, you see the bucket hats, and we needed some sunscreen, which was odd in Marina in June. But wasn't expecting that. We had a great food from a local Marina restaurant, and as well as some cool tunes that were being played, and I think everyone had a really nice time. Some very kind words were said and tales told about how things happened. And you see Mayor Williamson not getting dirty there, throwing his, but he does have the jackhammer. So the golden jackhammer. So all in all, we had our funding partners, our local officials, community partners, our vendors, the contractors who've been helping us all along. It was a great afternoon just to celebrate an important milestone in getting this project up and going. So lots of those smiles, they're not faked, they're not forced. I think those who there can tell you it was a good time was had by all. So
Everybody I know wants a bucket hat now.
That's what those are?
yeah. So we wanted to do something a little different than the ball cap. Everyone has ball caps, so we decided to do bucket hats this time around. They were pretty popular.
Yeah.
And the call on the sunscreen was good because we really needed it. It was quite warm. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah,
That was the event. So thanks all you board members and for those who were able to attend. It was a great time. Appreciate the support.
Chair, if I could, I want to express, I was very upset that I wasn't able to make it. I got called in for work for that Saturday, and oh my God, I was in Carmel Mountain, but tried to get there in time. But that was a momentous milestone and so much to get to that point.
Yeah.
But there'll be other
And I
celebrations.
missed the food.
Yeah, as I say, they owe you some really good food.
Great
It was
food.
good food.
It's really good.
So that is that item.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
no action required.
Okay.
Just I wanted everyone to have a chance to see what went on, and for those who missed it, to have a chance to rub it in a little bit.
That works.
Yeah, it did work.
It was a really great event, and I got to meet some of the people who will be the project
Yeah, the Granite Rock Myers.
yeah, Granite Rock Myers. And what was really funny was some of you probably don't know, but I've worked construction, so I was in the construction field many years. And the person leading who's gonna be on that project, Ricky, I haven't seen him for years, and he walked up to me and he said, "Marianne." So I said, "Yes." I said, I should have went to the operators engineers back then, and because I would have been making $1 more an hour. So in my retirement, but yeah, so it was really nice seeing everyone there, the elected, the staff, just everybody who had anything to do with surf. So really good event, and they'll probably do another event. And he did tell me that they painted that jackhammer gold for me.
Yeah, we wanted to do, if you recall, we did an event some years ago dozen or more years ago. And we did paint a jackhammer gold, and we had you actually operated it.
Yes.
Safety and risk management folks have changed over the past dozen years. And when I pitched that idea, everyone kind of smiled and nodded. But then when it came close to it, when they realized that I was actually serious about it, when I asked, okay, where is the golden jackhammer and where is it going to be set up? There's some more panicked looks and phone calls were made to me saying, our risk management people don't want to allow this. And I said, okay, well, I don't know, I'm not the same, in the same physical shape I was in 10 or 12 years ago. And so maybe having you operate a jackhammer was the right call. Certainly didn't want to have any shoulder injuries or anything like that as a result, because those things are pretty hard. But in the end,
Yeah.
we got there. It was a good event regardless.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to reports and informational items, 7.1 and Carl.
Yeah, you have our monthly reports, all 40 of this, maybe less later this year, depending on where we go. But what's important to note is ridership continues to grow year over year. On-time performance is still within standard, 85% within 5 minutes, 84% on the rides program. It's important to note that while not reflected in this report is May through May. July 1, we did have our transition from MV, our contractor for 20 years, to Transdev. We are meeting with them regularly and making sure that the transition goes smoothly. And we're doing all that we can to make certain that those any sort of issues are handled. They pretty much hired everybody from MV with, I'm not sure if there were any exceptions. Was there maybe one exception, but not a driver norm?
Yeah, there were maybe
One or two exceptions. Everyone was hired from MV, and if they weren't, it was due to like a background check issue that wasn't picked up by MV, but they got picked up by the new contractor. So in ultimately, everyone who should have had a job with MV has a job with Transdev, and they're in service today. So just keep me posted if you're hearing anything from the community about any of the minibus operations, whether it's a bus operating on lines 1 or 2 in Pacific Grove, or the South County Circulators, or the MST Rides program. Those are all those routes. Anything with a small bus is operated by our contractor, now Transdev, and we'd be interested in making certain that this transition goes smoothly. It's been 20 years since we've changed contractors. Even though we go out to bid every 5 years, this was the first time MV lost the bid. So it's a experience.
Okay, thank you, Carl. Questions or comments?
Just a comment. I just wanted to thank Kevin Allshouse. He's not here, is he?
He was, there he is.
He was. Oh, there he is. I just wanted to thank him because we had a little hiccup with the transition.
We did.
In South County with rides. And as soon as I contacted him, he took care of it immediately. I've already spoken to the resident. They're very pleased with the outcome. So I just wanted to thank you, Kevin, because that for taking care of that for us. All right, that's all.
And anyone else? And if not, we'll go ahead and move on to 7.2 staff trip reports. They are in your report for you. So self-explanatory. We'll move on to 8.1. That is reports and meetings attended by board members of MST. I have a short report in there. It was a 1-day report that's in there from May 8th. So
page 93 of your agenda.
Yes, and page 93. So it was very educational, and like I said, it was a very quick 1-day conference up in San Jose.
Sacramento.
Oh, Sacramento, that's right. So very informative. We'll go ahead and move on to 8.2 board member comments and announcements. And we also, under that item, do have the Active Transform Conference in Boston, September 14th through 17th. And looking to see if anyone had interest in attending. And that conference, I believe we're receiving an award.
We'll be receiving the #1 transit operator for small rural transit properties in the country at that award. So, we're hoping to have a good representation of board members who are available, and we'll also be bringing along staff as well as the president of our local union, which we generally don't bring to these types of things, but we certainly could not have done it without the support of the Amalgamated Transit Union. So we want to make certain that their representative is there with us.
Okay. So if there's any interest, would they need to have that there, Jeanette?
You just need to let me know so I can secure your room.
Yeah.
So we try to, usually we take 3, so we can, open it up to 5 or 6, depending on the chair. Try to want to avoid having a quorum, attending a conference together. Just once.
We get an email sent with the days again.
Sure.
Just to us.
The days are listed here.
Yeah, but he'd like an email, so we'll yeah.
And early bird pricing ends.
August 1st.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll get that out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. And any comments or announcements from the directors at this time? Other than that,
Just looking at that.
I'm not seeing any. We'll go ahead and move on to board member referrals for the next agenda.
What I've heard, the next agenda will be our strategic planning workshop. We got some feedback on reopening the survey and reissuing the staff report on our strategic goals and with renumbering rather than check marks on the tactics. Put those in a numeric format and perhaps provide that in an editable format for you. So if you want to just type your comments in and get it back to us.
Okay. Thank you, Charles.
Yep.
And we'll move on to item 9. This is monthly report for May 2025, can be viewed online, and that information is there for you. And with that, we will get ready to go into closed session. So at this time, we will be going into closed session, conferencing with Monterey Salinas Transit and ATU labor contract, Government Code 54957.6. Michael Laredo and Kelly Halcon will be in there. And then also, it's 2 items. We will also conference with real property negotiators, Government Code 54956.8. And there are some APM numbers. Do those need to be read out? They are in your.
Yeah.
Do they do, Michael?
No, they don't. It's on the agenda.
Okay, yeah, so it is on the agenda. MST negotiators will be Carl Sidoric, General Manager, and under negotiation price and terms. With that, I am going to open public comment up because before we go into closed session, at this time, public comment is open on either of the 2 items. And I am not seeing anyone in the conference room and not seeing anyone via Zoom. So I'll go ahead and close public comment, and we will report any actions taken out during closed
When we return to open session.
when we return to open session. Okay. With that.
Sorry.
And then Gloria, we're gonna go into the over into the conference.
You have directly followed tax authority meeting, which is a short thing, the one. Yeah. So before you have.
talk about that one. She was like,
Yeah.
you know what? You know, I quit.
And, you know, I'm very. Yeah.
She's terrible. That's, I
Okay.
quit.
We'll go ahead and move on to item, finish up item 10. So at this time, I will look to our legal counsel to report out any actions.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The board did meet in closed session on 2 items regarding the first item, a conference with MST and ATU labor contract. Under Government Code Section 54957.6. A general discussion was had, an update was provided, but no reportable action. Regarding item 10-2, conference with real property negotiators under Government Code Section 54956.8. Alternate De La Rosa did recuse herself for any appearance of bias or conflict. But in that item, there was a general discussion regarding interest in the property, but there's no reportable action this time.
Okay.
That
Thank
concludes my report.
Thank you so much. And with that, we will go ahead and adjourn the meeting. The next scheduled meeting for the regular Monterey Salinas Transit will be August 11th, 2025 at 9 a.m. So with that, we will close this out and we will get ready to move on to the MCRTA Monterey County Regional Taxi Authority Board